Welcome to Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this additional program, Nigerian athlete breaks under 20 record. Meanwhile, coming in from tennis, Czech star clinching his first tennis title since 2019. Enyimba International of Aba suffered setback in the Premier League survival race. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from a break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Sports Talk here, and Mike is here as well.
Thanks for having me this morning. Glad to be here.
Let's start from the local scene, where organizers of the Lagos City Marathon say they are reviewing their medal distribution framework following the crowd surge that occurred at the 10-kilometer race that took place at the weekend. This should have been, properly sorted out before the exercise took place.
Yeah, I think it should have been properly sorted out. Although, at the finishing end, there seems to be more like some sort of confusion where some marathoners will just come and, think that they should be given some sort of a medal. We also hear that there were some different discrepancies and some, shoddy practices that led to the surge where medals were not handed over to those who were ought to, because we hear that some persons was trying to buy medals and all of that, and this is the reason why there was such a crowd surge. And I think it's not a good one. This is the 11th edition of the Lagos City Marathon, and the previous edition has gone as well planned, but this time around, I think this crowd surge and the report of, medals purchase has actually marred the whole essence of this particular one. But despite that, I think we saw some impressive display from the marathoners as well. The Kenyans and, Ethiopian, the East Africans continue to dominate as well.
East African continues to dominate the marathon race at the Lagos City Marathon event that took place at the weekend. Ezri from Kenya did win in 2 hours, 11 minutes, 55 seconds. That's a good time, Mike.
Yeah, good time, you want to say. More like a little bit to what we saw last time out. There is an improved timing, which shows that there is an upgrade and there is a continuous progress with the Lagos City Marathon, because this timing slightly edged past the last edition, which for me I think is a good improvement.
10-kilometer race, 42-kilometer race in this event.
Yeah.
And we just hope that there will be proper organization next year. Meanwhile, 18-year-old thrower Jessica Oji has set a new Nigeria under-20 shot put record on her debut under the country's flag, marking a very impressive start for her new international career, following a switch of allegiance from the United States of America to Nigeria. This is good. Do you think it has to do with the conditioning where she's coming from?
Definitely. I think you can't take that away from her because where she's coming from, she has the best of facilities to train with proper attention, proper care given to some of these athletes. You know, I think for me the conditioning is key. If she has been training back here home, I can assure you that probably she might not just meet this very mark and making this progress. So for me, I think her background is very key. And then again, you talk about you know, her love for her father's land because he has previously represented the United States in some of the underage category. In fact, she's one of their best thrower for the year 2025 within that underage category before switching allegiance to Nigeria.
17.74 meters is the distance she threw to come second in the women's shot put event. For that mark officially, Nigerians, and that's of course another record, or do I say the newest record in the for Nigeria in shot put. Oji, like you heard there, represented the United States of America until February 2nd this year, when she became eligible to compete for Nigeria from the 3rd under the World Athletics Eligibility Act to represent a member role. And of course, addition to switch allegiance comes after a successful spell with the American collegiate system, which has really conditioned her. She was crowned the under-20 shot put champion in 2025, and now a freshman at the University of Pennsylvania, set to be part of the Ivy League record earlier this year with the personal best throw of 18.45 seconds. So she still has a lot to throw because from the one she threw last, 17, now she has a record of 18. That's a good distance.
A good distance, but there's need for improvement as well. You can also, you know, maybe cut her some slack. She's still developing, still progressing through to, you know, more stable performance. So maybe in her next outing, we'll see a better, you know, improvement of the timing.
Interestingly, there is an African record held by Vivian Chukwemeka, and that's about 18.43. And I hope she has that at the back of her mind. I'm maybe looking forward to beating that African record, set by yet another Nigerian.
Definitely, you know, Nigerians, when it has to do with, you know, competing against the best, you can't rule that away from them. I think the only hindrance or setback has been the fact that a proper and adequate care is not given to them. But when you see them going outside the shores of Nigeria to get a proper preparation and training, they compete highly and effectively against some of the best in the world. So I have no doubt that she will definitely continue to improve the timing.
Still in athletics, Nigerian sprinter Olayinka Olajide ran a new personal best in the women's 60 meters before anchoring the Raiders to the women's 4x400 meters school record. That's still in the United States of America. Look back, Texas in the United States of America. This is good. 7.32 seconds to place second behind another American, Nela Harris.
Yeah, definitely. Nigeria's athletes over there, I think they have been doing impressive one so far since the start of this year. In fact, this previous personal record stood at 7.33 second, and which was set on January 17th at the Corky Classic. You know, so I think more like yet another improvement from the last timing where she had her best out there in the Corky Classic. And I believe that this is just the beginning of the season. We still have more races there to come and more expectation from some of these Nigerian athletes overseas.
Well, I think the Athletics Federation of Nigeria definitely have to keep pace with these Nigerians that are doing exploits out there in the foreign soil. Meanwhile, still in athletics, sprinter Favour Ashe has predicted that more track and field stars will dump Nigeria for other countries in the near future after the 23-year-old allegedly switched allegiance to Qatar. What's going on here?
I think it's quite worrisome because we saw the news, you know, making around the internet on Sunday that Favour Ashe have actually...
But it was expected.
Yeah, it was expected, but then taking a look at what happened to Favour Philly, where she also reportedly switched allegiance last year, all right, the Athletic Federation boss and other stakeholders, they came out to say that, you know, correction has been taken, although at some point it was more like a back and forth about the accusation that was raised by, you know, Favour Philly, and they said the correction has been taken. They are charting a way forward to ensure that all of this is stopped, but then it has continued unabated, and I think for me, I'm very worried. Even Favour Ashe made it very clear that more Nigerian athletes will definitely switch allegiance if the needful is not done. And I think for me, it's a very troubling situation for the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, because if we are having our best hands, switching allegiance to other places, it means Nigerians will be devoid of, great, athletes, leaving the bulk of the work to maybe, Tobilola, Motion, and few of others. But we can't have our prime athlete switching allegiance, and some of them are still very young, 23, 24. This is the peak moment where you say Nigeria should be developing and competing against, the best in the world. But then we are seeing them switching allegiance, courtesy of the fact that maybe the Athletic Federation are not doing the right thing.
The Athletic Federation of Nigeria definitely has to step up because we're having this change of allegiance too often. Nigerians are moving to other countries to apply the trade, and these are our best athletes, if you ask me. Meanwhile, we just hope that the authorities will take note of this and do something about it, and it has to be very fast before we have, because like she's hinted, there are more athletes ready to move on. Meanwhile, we'll go to tennis now, where the Qatar Open is up. Karolina Muchova clinched her very first title since 2019, as she overcame Canadian teenager Victoria Mboko in a 6-4, 7-5 Open final. This is good news for the age athletes.
Definitely. I think it was a very impressive one, a happy moment and joyous one for her, because since 2019, she's been finding it very difficult to hit her peak. But this time around, this win is her first WTA 1000 event and second overall after Korea Open, 7 years ago. So I think for me, it's been long coming, and especially coming up against a young teenager in Victoria Mboho, who actually hosted out the world #2, talking about Iga Swiatek, and of course beat some other notable names as well. She was one of the favorites, after seeing some impressive display from her. But then Karolina Muchova, maybe experience, played a very crucial role in helping her to beat the teenager. So for me, I think this should be the beginning of a good thing. Good things to come from Karolina Muchova.
Talking about WTA 1000 event in tennis, reminds me that in the next few days, the Dubai Open will be up, and it looks like there will be no color there, because Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek, two of the best female tennis players, will not be part of the the Dubai Open. What's the take on this?
Yeah, I think for me, the whole essence of the tennis, where you expect, some big activities, is when the big names are there. People want to turn out in their numbers to, see the impressive display from these top tennis stars. But when you're having, to left aside the world #1 or world #2, then I think the fanfare and euphoria would would be limited from tennis fans who will be expecting to see some of the best names in there. However, it is what it is. The competition must go on, and for those who still have some of their favorite players, they will definitely come out. It's just that, like I said, the euphoria will not be that high compared to if the big names are present.
1,000 points is quite enough to attract these big names. Well, what Aryna Sabalenka can add at 1,000 points, of course, further a distance between she and the next, just a second ranked tennis player.
Yeah, I think this should have been a golden opportunity for her, and of course to increase her point tally, and then for even the world #2 as well, a golden opportunity for her to, of course, rack up the 1,000 points and closing the gap against the world #1. But then, like I said, sometimes injury do set in. Sometimes these things happen in the world of sport, and you cannot just stop it from not happening. But it is what it is. Those that are there, I'm sure they will definitely try to pick up the point and see how to improve their ranking as well, especially now that we're having some names, relatively unknown, and some of them that were not better ranked, because of the fact they've been taking part in some of these 500,000 points, 250,000 points. Some of them are even moving up the ladder, like Karolina Muchova, that was far away from the top 50. She has now, she's now back to among the top 20. I talk about Victoria Mboho, that was ranked at 300. She's now made the top 10 because of the fact that she has gone far in some of these, point ranking championship. So I believe the point ranking or the point accumulation from this event, 1,000 points is massive, and this can help one or two players to move up the rankings.
Well, time for us to take a break. When we return from the break, there will be more, especially in football, where the Premier League here in Nigeria is getting interesting with teams struggling to avoid relegation. And across to Europe, the FA Cup took center stage at the weekend in England, and the top teams continue to make hay. Show the difference between them and the lower ranked teams at the weekend. It is still a struggling time for some of the teams in the La Liga. When we return from a break, we'll look at all that took place in football across the world. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on the Atlantic Television Network, and Mike is here. Together, we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the world of sport. We told you how KN has swept off the top place position at the just concluded City Marathon in Lagos, and beyond that, we'll bring you some latest in football now, and we'll start with the Premier League here in Nigeria. Mike, at the weekend, we saw some interesting results. Air Canada Warriors playing at home beat Plateau United, and it looks like Plateau United is concerned to be relegated this season.
I think they need to do a bit because they are seated 13th on the log right now. So there's still time for them to, see how to fight their way out of the threatened relegation position, which they are sliding towards to. We still have about 12 games so for Plateau United sitting 13th on the log. There's still time for them to change things for good in their favor.
Meanwhile, Katsina United took advantage of playing at home to beat Nasarawa United by 1-0. Nasarawa, yet another team that looks like a candidate for relegation.
Definitely, and they must be fighting their way through as well. For Katsina, I think a good result for them because they move up to 9th position because of that result. So I believe they are going to follow this impressive result up from their next game as well.
Bayelsa United didn't make home the advantage count because they played a goalless draw with Insurance of Benin. Insurance taking away one valuable point from Yenegua.
Definitely a great one for Insurance as well, and for Bayelsa, I think it's not a good one because this has left them, sliding down towards the downward spiral of the Nigerian Premier Football League table because they are seated 15th on the log with just 5 points adrift of the relegation zone. So I think for Bayelsa, they just need to wake up as soon as possible because this relegation threat might just hit them if they don't improve on their next game.
Enugu Rangers bid to qualify for the continent next season is hotting up because they beat Wiki Torres by 2-0 at the Cathedral in Enugu.
A great one for Enugu Rangers. They are now seated 12th, second on the log with 43 points. Their coach is one man that the way he speaks with a lot of confidence and boldness will actually, instill, that belief in the hearts of the players. Before he went to international duty, when he went with the Super Eagles for the African Cup of Nations, it was more like a mixed result for them. It's either they win this week and loses the next 2 games. And at some point, they were even outside the top 5. So there were worries that, Enugu Rangers might not just finish within the continental sport this season. Well, immediately, their coach, Fidelis Ilechukwu, came back from international duty. I think we've seen some improvement within the Enugu Rangers team so far. Currently seated second on the league table. I think it's a good one for them.
Enyimba International's woes continues, no doubt, because at their own stadium in Aba, Ikorodu City travel all the way from Lagos to beat them by 1-0.
It's a quite disappointing one from Enyimba International. I think we've seen a whole lot of in-house fighting, leadership problem, players going on strike. Things are not just going quite well, with Enyimba International, and it's quite disappointing, quite sad at the time where former Nigerian Super Eagles player Kanu Nwankwo is at the helms of affair. We thought maybe he's going to bring his wealth of exposure down to Enyimba, but then that has not been the case as they continue to struggle. But for Ikorodu City, you can't also undermine them because they have been very impressive so far. Seated first in the league table even before that encounter. They know that them getting all 3 points will also help them because Rivers United still have 4 games at hand, and if they get to play, it means that Ikorodu City will move down. So I think Ikorodu, you need to also give them their own kudos as well.
One team that do not have, let's say, cannot be given kudos right now is Kwara United. Playing inside of their own stadium in Ilorin, they played a 1-1 draw with Kano Pillars, and they are in the relegation threatening zone as well.
Definitely, Kwara United seated 18th on the log as well. Kano Pillars as well, another relegation battle. It's more like 2 similar teams, that are struggling, fighting relegation, meeting each other. But then I think Kano Pillar got a bit of their struggling side as well. So I think for me, the battle rages on, the battle of who stays afloat the top flight division, and it's going to, last as long as we still have 12 games to play. Because you take a look at the point difference between the teams seated 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. There's no much difference, so it's going to be a very long battle.
Remo Stars woes continues. 1-1 they played at their own stadium against Abia Warriors. Abia Warriors traveling all the way to Gusti to pick a valuable point.
For Abia Warriors, a good one, 5th on the log right now, although they have been shifted back to 5th position because we saw them occupying 2nd and 3rd position at some point in the league. But then it looks as though they are gradually losing their grip in terms of the continental battle. And for Remo Stars, it's not a good one. Their struggle continues as they are rocking 19th position, leaving people to begin to wonder if actually can Remo Stars, a defending champion, able to stay afloat. The battle now is to just remain at the top flight division and not about defending the title, because even if they get to win the next 12 remaining matches, it's not good enough for them to defend their title. So I just pity them, and I hope that things changes for good.
Shooting Stars shut out Wolves from Warri by 4-2.
Yeah, good one for Shooting Stars. And I think they are also fighting for continental sport. They are placed at 7th on the log right now. But then still more games set to come. If they continue to shoot their stars high, maybe just maybe they can clinch that continental sport.
In the war against two new entrants to the Premier League football here in Nigeria, Barrow FC and Kun Khalifat, it ended 1-0 in favor of the home side Barrow.
For Barrow, I think good one for them because it's not been a good result for them as well. Although they are slightly away from the relegation battle zone, but not too far away from it. If you take a look at the point disparity, but for Kun Khalifat FC, I think their woes continue with 12 games to go. I'm sure they should be planning for life in the maybe second division.
Let's take it up to the continent now. Interestingly, quarterfinalists for the CAF Champions League have all emerged at the weekend. Mike, we saw Pyramids of Egypt, of course, become winners in their own group. Al-Ahly of Egypt is one of the quarterfinalists. We have Al-Hilal of Sudan as the next quarterfinalist. Mamelodi Sundowns qualified for the quarterfinals as well, while Esperance of Tunis did qualify. RS Berkane qualified as well. No doubt with a whooping 3-0 victory over Rivers United. Rivers United played 4 games in the group stage, didn't win any, scored only one. Did they score? That was an own goal, this, a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, I think it's been a disappointing outing. 6 games played from Rivers United, 5 defeats, 1 draw, conceded 13 goals, managing to score just 2. And out of those 5 defeats, 3 came at home, which for me I think it was a very disappointing and embarrassing outing for from Rivers United. But then, what do we say? Can you really blame the team and the coaches? I think maybe you just need to spare them the blame because the quality of the league is a clear reflection of what we go to do out there in the continent. Because if our league is that good and competitive, I think they should be competing against the best. Pyramid that came here last time, they came with a chartered jet, all right? They played, came with food and everything, and went away, came and picked the result. When last did you see any Nigerian club side booking a chartered flight to go and honor an away match? So these things is not just about the team, it's not just about the coach and players, it's about the way and manner our league is organized compared to other leagues in African countries here. So not a good one, but then I think the only positive that we can take home is that because of the fact that they've gone this far, Nigeria still still retain their point coefficient of at least producing 4 teams in the CAF organized competition.
Well, let's hope that we can do better. It's been a long time we saw glory, from the CAF competitions from a Nigerian side. Eyiba International did that many years ago, and now it is over 20 years, and we believe that a Nigerian club side should at least make an impact, or at least play in the final of the CAF competitions, both in the CAF Confederations Cup and in the CAF Champions League. Let's take it a bit higher now and get to national team football. We understand there has been an agreement for an international friendly between Nigeria and Iran. That will be coming up in just about a few weeks from now.
I think it would be a good one for the Iranian national team and not basically for Team Nigeria or the Super Eagles rather, because although there are some glimpses of hope that FIFA are going to probably look into the petitions sent by the Nigerian Football Federation because of the fielding an ineligible player by DR Congo, so there might still be glimpses of hope for the Super Eagles. But right now, from the situation of things, Nigeria are not going to the World Cup until the final verdict from FIFA. So, but for Uzbekistan, who will be going to the World Cup, I think it's a better preparation for them playing the Super Eagles.
What a day. 200 million Nigerians will be expecting information in the next few hours from the FIFA headquarters in Zurich. The Nigeria did file a petition against Congo DR leading up to the World Cup qualifiers for this year. And decision will be made today and made public, understandably, in the next few hours from now. If that decision favors Nigeria, it means Congo DR will not be going to the World Cup. It will be Super Eagles of Nigeria that will be going to the World Cup. But if it's the other way around, then Nigeria's bid to will go to the World Cup through the window, or do I say through the back door, will have suffered a devastating blow.
Yeah, for me, I think it would be a great one for we to see the Super Eagles getting maybe yet another third chance, because this is going to be the third chance. That is, if the decision comes the way of the Super Eagles. They had a first chance to qualify directly. We blew away the chance. We had a second chance. We blew away the opportunity. Now we are looking for a third chance. Will this be possible? Only time will tell. But then, taking a look at the petition filed by the Super Eagles to FIFA, do they stand any chance at all? Is that petition right? You want to take a look at it from the book out there. You say, yeah, 100% they are right, because we are not just talking about one player or two players, failing the to meet the eligibility right or the process of switching allegiance. There are about 5 to 6 good players, and this makes it very difficult for DR Congo to defend this case against them. Sometimes some persons might want to run with emotion to say, oh, the Super Eagles should not, think of going to the World Cup. Their performance was not that good, and they deserved not to go. But then, despite that, the truth remains that the opposite party talking about the Congo, did they actually follow the due process? The answer is no, because the process to which their players, few of the players switched allegiance, was not in tandem with their own constitution vis-a-vis the rules and the position taken before you can switch allegiance internationally to other countries. So these are the key factors. So for me, Nigeria have a very strong case here, and I think that if FIFA does the needful, don't forget South Africa suffered the same fate where they fielded in Mokwena. All right, 3 points was deducted from them, and that three opened the the group at that point in time. But then Super Eagles failed to capitalize on that. So if it happened to South Africa, it must also rub off on DR Congo, because the rules are the same.
The rules are the rules, and these legislations are put in place, regulations are put in place for guidance, and of course, where you run foul of it, you could be punished. But seeing the Super Eagles of Nigeria go through the back door to the World Cup will delight a lot of Nigerians, over 200 million. But then we should have done what was needed to be done, but we didn't take that chance. Like Mike, he said, we lost the first opportunity, lost the second one. Are we losing the third one? Few hours from now, we'll know, because FIFA will give a decision on whether Congo DR had run foul of the rule. And if they have, then they suffer, while the Super Eagles take the opportunity to go to the World Cup in the United States of America, Mexico, and Canada. Well, yeah, do I say we love to pray a lot, and so we're praying that this decision will be in the favor of Nigeria. Let's quickly now go to Europe. And in Europe, football action at the weekend took, do I say, shine at the FA Cup. There was no Premier League match, especially in England, where Nigerians are delightfully following football. And in the first FA Cup fixture we saw at the weekend, Hull City playing at home were bashed by 4 unreplied goals from Chelsea. Chelsea showing no mercy to the Championship side.
Yeah, I think that last draw in the English Premier League game, where they ought to have taken all 3 points, was more like maybe the propelling factor that pushed them out of the way to go, to beat Stoke City. Stoke City, the former employee of the present coach of Chelsea, Liam Rosenell. A few years ago, he was there before he was sacked. Coming back more like a revenge mission for him, and he just did the job what he ought to do. 4-0, a great one as they move to the next round.
Wrexham beat Ipswich Town by 1-0. Then we saw Birmingham City play at a 1-1 draw with Leeds United. Grimsby Town playing at home lost 1-0 to Wolves. Oxford lost at home as well. Sunderland beat them by 1-0. Stoke City lost at home. Fulham benefiting from all of the 3 points there, courtesy of their 2-0 win. Arsenal last night, Pumel Wigan by 4 unreplied goals, all 4 goals coming in the first half.
Yeah, good one, good result for Arsenal. But I think injury also marred the celebration and the hope of a quadruple for them so far this season, because the likes of Calafiori got injured in that game, Ben White. So I think it's a sweet, bitter result for Arsenal.
West Ham United beat Bolton Albion by 1-0, while Burnley lost at home to Mansfield Town. That was a shocking result, but Man City continued the business of winning by beating Salford City by 2-0. Norwich City beat West Bromwich Albion by 3-1, while Southampton were 2-1 winner over Leicester City after extra time. Aston Villa, the Premier League side, that disappointed at the weekend. They were beaten 3-1 by Newcastle United. But this was inside of Aston Villa Stadium. Both of them Premier League side. You expect Aston Villa to use home advantage to overcome Newcastle United, but it was the other way around. 3-1 ended in favor of United from Newcastle.
Yeah, you should expect Villa to make good use of the home crowd, but then that wasn't the case. Lately, Newcastle United under Eddie Howe, they have not been getting an impressive result. I guess maybe that was the extra push for them to get the job done at the Villa's Park. As Unai Emery's men failed to live up to expectation, even though we saw their former player who went, and after 7 years after bringing them back into the Premier League, scoring, talking about Abraham, but that wasn't enough for them. So maybe, just maybe, the Premier League top 4 chase is what they value more. That is what they prioritize more, and I guess the reason why they took their foot off the gas, allowing Newcastle to hammer them by such a margin.
Liverpool beat Brighton by 3-0. Liverpool as well into the next round of the FA Cup, if you ask me. Fulham is about the other side that suffered it. Later tonight, there will be action as well in the FA Cup. Brentford, another Premier League side, will attempt to send out Mansfield City, a championship side.
I think this one should be a direct win from Brentford. Take a look at their show so far in the league. I think they've been very stable, a very competitive team. So you expect them to, make a light work of their opponent tonight.
Well, talking about the Premier League reminds me of casualties, managerial casualties. They seem to be new appointments to replace those that have been fired. The Premier League struggler, Nottingham Forest, seem to have a new manager now. What do you make of Victor Pereira coming back to the Premier League?
I think it's more like, should I call it a risk from Nottingham Forest?
He was sacked a few months ago from Wolves.
Exactly, because he had a very dismal performance with Wolves as the league got underway, so they had to let him go. But then, on the other hand, you want to say, Angel Marinakis, which is the owner of Nottingham Forest, he's been doing a little bit of, a little bit here, a little bit there, more like a trial and error method. And they become the first coach, the first club rather, in the history of the English Premier League to sack and bring in 4 new managers, to have 4 new managers within a single season. You could also recall that they had sacked Nuno Espirito Santo, they had sacked Ange Postecoglou, they've sacked Sean Dyche, and now the 4th manager, a record-breaking one, a history-making one for them. But then I'm afraid with this change of managers within just one single season, I think it's going to affect them negatively, because players, they are not stable. It's either they play a different pattern under one manager, play a different pattern under the next manager. So I think it will be very difficult for them to survive this battle.
Let's bring you some results from the La Liga at the weekend, where we saw at top-level football. Elche played a goalless draw with Sasuna, while Oviedo lost at home to Atletico Club. Rayo Vallecano beat Atletico Madrid by 3 unreplied goals. Surprising result?
Yeah, very surprising, owing to the fact that Atletico Madrid, they just, were still basking under the euphoria of beating Barca 4-0 in the quarterfinal of the Copa del Rey. At a point where you expect them to up their ante, they just capitulated. But this is why we love football. It is full of surprises. Levante
playing at home, lost as well. 2-0 ended between them and Valencia. Mallorca, another home loser at the weekend in the La Liga. Real Betis beating them by 2-1. Earlier on, we have seen a 2-2 draw between Espanyol and Celta Vigo. Getafe beat Villarreal by 2-1. 1-1 it ended between Sevilla and Atletico Deportivo Alaves. Real Madrid pummeled Sociedad by 4-1. Later tonight, we have a fixture in the La Liga. Girona will host FC Barcelona. Barcelona coming off from that 4-0 bashing. Atletico Madrid, can they stop Oviedo from winning at home?
I think...
or Girona from winning at home?
On paper, it looks like more it will favor Barca. Taking a look at the fact that we'll be trying to, recover from that embarrassing defeat they suffered in the hands of Atletico. So on paper, it all goes for Barca, but in reality, they are just going to fight for it tonight.
Okay, let's look at what happened in Germany. Borussia Dortmund beat Mainz by 4-0 at the weekend. They are still looking at results coming from the Bundesliga. Augsburg beat Heidenheim by 1-0. Leipzig played a 2-0 Wolves, while Bayer Leverkusen Pummel St. Pauli by 4-0. It was a high score line between Eintracht Frankfurt and Borussia Mönchengladbach because Frankfurt beat Borussia by 3-0. Hamburger beat Union Berlin by 3-2. It was 3-0 in favor of Hoffenheim against Freiburg. Werder Bremen lost at home. Bayern Munich beating them by 3-0. No stopping Bayern Munich from winning the league.
At all with Harry Kane, the man of the moment, scoring goals for fun. I think this is a one-way ride for Bayern.
In the same scoreline we saw between Stuttgart and Cologne, this one ending 3-1. In Italy, there were interesting results at the weekend. Pisa lost at home, AC Milan beating them by 2-1. Udinese lost by the same margin, 2-1 to Sassuolo. Cremonese played a goalless draw with Genoa. Parma beat Hellas Verona by 2-1. Torino lost at home. Bologna beating them by 2-1. It was 2-2 between Napoli and AS Roma, while Como lost at home as well. Fiorentina beating them by 2-1. Lazio lost at home. Atalanta benefiting by all 3 points, courtesy of a 2-0 win, while Inter made home count by beating Juventus by 3-2. Across to France, Rennes beat Paris Saint-Germain by 3-1, and this is for me a shocking result. Meanwhile, AS Monaco beat Nantes by 3-1. Laval beat Toulouse by 2-1. Lorraine beat Angers by 2-0. It was Metz losing at home to Auxerre 3-1. It ended in that fixture. Lyon beat Nice by 2-0. It was 2-2 between Marseille and Strasbourg. Lille played a goalless draw with Brest, while Paris FC lost at home to RC Lens. 5-0 it ended. Whooping scoreline, unbelievable to the new entrance to the top level football in France, Mike.
Yeah, very shocking result. To team of equal strength, you expect it to be a very narrow win for Lens, even if they should have won that game, not as much as scoring 5 past Paris FC, who were playing at home. Not a good one at all, and this is a club side of Moise Simon.
Well, fingers are all crossed. We have to wrap up the show now, but trust us at 6 p.m. Nigerian time. We're back to give you the review of what has happened at the FIFA headquarters. Will it be Nigeria going to the World Cup, or will it be Congo DR going to the FIFA World Cup coming up in Mexico and the United States of America? Get on your knees, pray. It could turn things around in favor of the Super Eagles going to the World Cup after, do I say, 2 consecutive absence at the top level of football in the world. But until 6 p.m. we'll return. Remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.